What? Okay. What?
Hey, good evening, everyone.
They changed the word.
This is a regular meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. Today's Thursday, November 14th, in the year 2019. We had a 6 p.m. scheduled start. I am silencing my phone.
Oh, God.
That's a huge hint for everyone. The time is 6:07 p.m. Can we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Present.
Prinzeri.
Here.
Bajiano.
Yeah.
Yun.
Here. Physically.
Solomon.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Rivera.
Here.
Waterman. And Lavara.
Here.
We all rise to observe a moment of silence in the memory of a Jersey City icon, Nicholas C. Fargo Sr., who passed away at the age of 98. He was the first ever director of public safety for the city of Jersey City. His son was the director of fire. His grandson's a fireman. 3 grandsons are firemen. And our chief married into his family. 20 priests co-celebrated his funeral mass last week at OLM. So for Nicholas C. Fargo Sr.
Lieutenant Jason Maynard, my college roommate, died in Boston.
My mother's best friend, Miriam Maxine Reedon.
Ellis DeCrease.
Please remain standing for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. On behalf of the City Council, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, better known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been posted on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall and filed in the office of the City Clerk. The schedule of meetings and caucuses for the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2019. In addition, at the time of its preparation, this agenda was similarly disseminated on Friday, the 8th of November, to the Mayor, Council, Business Administrator, and Jersey Journal, and the Jersey City Report, and the Jersey City Reporter, and the Jersey Journal, and posted on the World Wide Web. This isn't our normal night; it's a Thursday. Council members, I think we just have one resolution to add. Wait, we need to add 27 through 29. Do we have any other special intentions, any
Do we
presentations?
have a copy of that, Robert?
Robert, we have a copy of it?
Pardon?
We have no copies. So what is 27 through 29?
I will let you take a look at them. I don't know that copies were made for you, Councilman. I'll have to see a second. He's-
I don't use the computer. I do old-fashioned way, the American way.
10Z27 to 10Z29. Let me read their titles into the record. Or actually, they're on the printed agenda. Everyone has a printed agenda. We have a motion by Councilperson Rivera. Seconded by Prinzeri.
You have it, Michael? No. No.
It's on the computer.
I don't have a computer. It's not on his computer.
It's here, but
On the motion to add these resolutions, Councilperson Ridley.
do me a favor, before we do that, I just want to make sure that 1026 is authorizing award the open-end contract to Ken's Marine.
That's Ken's Marine. We have 27 and 28 are executing discharges of mortgages at 177 and 97 Woodlawn Avenue, and the other is authorizing contracts with vendors for the delivery of substance abuse prevention and education programs for the Department of Health and Human Services.
All right. Okay.
On the motion, Councilperson Ridley?
Aye.
Prinzary?
Aye.
Baggiano?
Aye.
Yun?
Aye.
Solomon? Aye. Robinson?
Aye.
Rivera? Aye. Waterman? LeVar?
Aye.
Okay, the items are added.
Got a pair of broken glasses here.
All right, council members, we'll go right to the first reading ordinances. 2 have been withdrawn. 3.1 is City Ordinance 19155. It's an ordinance rescinding Ordinance 16011 and terminating the tax exemption and financial agreement with 305 Westside Avenue Urban Renewal LLC. 3.2 is Ordinance 19156.
It's withdrawn.
That was withdrawn. 3.3, 19157 withdrawn. 3.4 is an ordinance banning the sale and/or distribution of electronic smoking devices that delivered flavored tobacco products. And what we should add, council members, to the agenda is 3.5.
What the hell is
And ordinance 3.5. So can you stick with the motion, Councilperson Rivera?
This is for introduction?
This will be for introduction. 3.5 was a late starter, and I neglected to add that to the resolutions. So will you make the motion, Councilman Rivera, to add it?
Are we adding it right now, or what's the vote right now?
It has been no vote. It can't be
Okay.
voted upon until 6 members of the council add 3.5.
If I may, before we make the addition, can you just talk about 3.5 here? It's,
Yeah. So my apologies to the council on this late addition. It was, we had an administrative issue with the approvals of this, but the long story short about this ordinance is that it sets up a committee comprised of both members of the public, council members, and the mayor or his designee to oversee the census process in Jersey City. We hope to collaborate with the council on selecting people for this committee to make sure that we're doing a fair count.
So now, can I ask a question? The
Yeah.
business owner-
Councilman Yun.
Yeah, thank you. Because when I, is that right? Okay, hold on a minute. All right, it's better. Okay. See, the appointment of committee members, just mayors appointed, they have no, the consent required from the city council. Can we add to like some kind of at least courtesy consent from by city council? Can we do that? Yeah? Yes or no?
If the council wishes, we can add that in.
Yeah. It's like a courtesy, you know what I'm saying, you know?
So we would submit, so to clarify, we would submit the list of everyone we are wishing to appoint to this committee in a separate resolution, right?
I don't think so, because
This is an ordinance, correct?
this is ordinance, so it's not a big change, you know what I'm saying? Just add to ordinance with just one word, you know, may appoint that, but with the consent of the city council. That's
Yeah,
all.
we can do that.
Yeah.
We would have to amend this ordinance right now, Robert?
Robert?
Yeah.
Can you-
You want to add language to this ordinance now?
Before we make any formal additions, I just want some clarification. So it suggests that in D, item D, under 3-141, that there are 2 members of the council appointed by the mayor. Then in E, in selecting those members of the public who shall serve in the committee, the mayor shall, to the extent possible, appoint members who represent the cultural, ethnic, and linguistic diversity of the communities within the city of Jersey City, including to the extent feasible, members representing, and then Jersey City Council. So E is just still remains 2 members under E, correct?
Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Essentially, is it just 2 members of the city council on this?
Yeah. It's a 10-person committee, 2 members of the council, 6 members of the public, 1 from each ward, and then the mayor.
Danny, take care.
So I'm going to be very clear about this. I already had this long conversation with Keith Donath about this in terms of the politicization of the census in that sense, and it's unacceptable to me that the mayor will be able to select 2 council members. This should be a unified effort, just like we had all the mayors in attendance, and every member of the city council should be able to participate in some way directly on this. And as you break this all down and you talk about hard-to-count communities, I've shared with Keith the idea that hard-to-count communities includes, by census best practices and so forth, the homeless, LGBTQ, disabled, undocumented immigrants, non-English speakers, young children, people who are not literate, racial and ethnic minorities, people not living in traditional housing, etc. We are the most diverse city in the entire nation. When I was having conversations with Keith Donath, we were talking about, at one point, a 21-member complete count committee, and even looking at expanding beyond that. And the idea that this committee itself will then make determinations on funding for the city with regard to our census activities is, I think the council should be have more engagement and more, if they choose to be, whatever the council members want to do. But for my part, I do want to be engaged, and I'm clear I'm not going to be one of those members that the mayor is going to select. So I'm not going to leave that to choice and selection, because I do think this is, like, again, one of those issues that, damn the politics, like we all need to be able to make sure that we have a seat at the table on this.
Councilman Rivera, you made the motion to add Prinzary, you made the motion to add the other items. Will you keep your motion in second and allow me to just take a vote to add 3.5?
Yes.
Councilperson Ridley? Just adding 3.5. Prinzary?
Aye.
Bajano?
Aye.
Yun? Solomon?
You didn't vote.
No. Okay, after vote, we're gonna, okay, then aye.
Solomon?
It's sort of 6 1 half dozen of the other, but I'll vote aye for adding it to the agenda.
Robinson?
I truly believe what the council president said is right, that this is a big task at hand, but hopefully we can get to change some of this wording because I know I want to be a part of helping count, the census. I'll vote aye to add it to the agenda, but just to add it.
Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman? Lavara?
Voting aye to add to the agenda.
That's just to add it to the agenda. So we're voting on, council members, 3.1, and 3.4, and 3.5. 3.2 and 3.3 have been withdrawn. There's going to be some discussion on 3.5? Are we going as is?
Yeah, look, I think this, if you're talking about 1 member or a 10-member committee, put aside the city council, the immigrant community in and of itself in Jersey City, the most diverse city in the entire nation. Which immigrant community are we talking about? Are we talking about the Indian community, the Dominican community? Are we talking about the Filipino community? Are we talking about the Pakistani community? It can go up and down here, like, endlessly on that. And frankly, I think everyone should be at the table on this. Again, it may be unwieldy and large, but I think it's just that important, and we just need to make sure, and I'm not talking about me, we want to depoliticize things, but you want to have strong leadership at the top, managing 20, 30 voices out there that are going to be a part of this, but I think with a shared vision and a shared goal, that can be accomplished, and we can have a very robust committee that will ensure that Jersey City is the highest, the largest city in the state of New Jersey.
So, President, can I say, add to do that? Yeah, so just the two things. We can set up the committee, but the committee members, not just appointed by mayor, but even though mayor select committee, but they require consent by city council, number one. Number two, the committee, we have to give to give to them, they can able to set up the subcommittee. You know what I'm saying? Because I agree with just some part of the council present. You know, we have, probably 120 different, ethnic groups that live in Jersey City. You know, we try to even they bring up the committee, but we cannot with all. So at least some committees need, but also based on their committee, able to, the power to set up the subcommittee, based on, so if we added to the committee able to set up the subcommittee in the future, then I feel comfortable.
So let me propose a couple of changes to this to the council to see if it makes sense. In the two possible changes. So one is in Part D, where it says appointed by the mayor, and then adding with advice and consent of the council.
Yes.
And then perhaps adding another phrase in Section E that says, or I'm not sure exactly how to word it, but something that would allow additional members of the to be added to this group.
Not only added to, they can set up the subcommittee based on different ethnic, you know what I'm saying?
That can be done by resolution.
By resolution? Whatever is easy for, you know what I'm saying?
An ad hoc committee on.
So somebody give us some definition there. What is the right way to do? We got to put in the subcommittee, to in this ordinance, or we can set up the subcommittee by resolution.
How about a change? Okay, so there's the advice and consent of the council. In Section E, it says, in selecting those members of the public who shall serve on the committee, the mayor shall, to the extent possible, maybe adding the word also after that. So it's sort of saying there's additional members that can be added that represent these other communities.
Subcommittee, you know what I'm saying? Committee under them, based on case, they can set up another subcommittee under that, right?
We would do the subcommittees by resolution afterwards.
Okay.
We could do that.
All right, so we just make sure that every ethnic group able to participate in that 2020 census. So that's what we're looking for. That's what.
And then the subcommittees could more specifically address those different populations.
Right.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so we can vote on as is?
Yes.
Okay.
Gotta add the advice and consent of council piece right now, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, 3.1 through 3.1, 3.4, and 3.5. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye for introduction.
Sorry, guys.
It's a withdraw. The withdrawing.
Zeri.
Aye for introduction.
Baggiano.
Aye for introduction.
Gunn.
With that change, I vote for introduction.
Solomon.
I'm going to vote yes on 3.1 and 3.4 and no on 3.5. I just feel like if we had a chance to talk about this in caucus, Like, I'm not sure what this committee's doing. I don't know, do we have subcommittees? Do we not? How do you do it effectively? And the time to kind of work this all out is caucus. And so I'm going to vote no on 3.5.
Councilperson Robinson?
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Rivera? Aye for introduction. Councilperson Waterman? President?
I'll echo Councilman Solomon's remarks on 3.5. This seems, let me just say for the record, I've had numerous conversations with Keith Doneth on the idea of establishing a complete count committee and went back and forth repeatedly on this. And so I was glad to see that moving forward with something regarding a complete count committee. I know things have changed and shifted with him moving to recreation and to another role. But this is so far from where those conversations were that I can't in good conscience vote for it. So I vote no on 3.5 and aye on the 3.1 and 3.4.
No on 3.5 and on balance. So 3.1, 9-0. 3.4, also 9-0. And 3.5, 7-0-2, excuse me, 7-1. Yes, sir. If there's anyone here for the zoning board meeting, it's in the council caucus room across the hall. If you're here for the zoning ordinance, it's in the corner room off the hall. So 3.5 is 7-2, not 7-0-2. So that's it with first reading ordinances. Can I have a motion by Councilman Solomon to move 4.1 and 4.2
To 2021, no, I'm joking. So I make a motion to defer 4.1, 4.2 to the December 4th meeting.
Second.
This is to add 4.1, 19,086, and 4.2, 19,128 to the December 4th, 2019 meeting. The reason this agenda indicates that the next meeting is Tuesday, November 26th is because the council is going to be expected to approve a resolution to move it to December 4th. Councilperson Ridley? Prinzeri? Did I hear you, Council? Aye. Zeri?
Aye.
Bajano?
Aye.
Yun?
Aye.
Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson? Farah?
Aye.
Waterman? Lavara?
Aye.
All right, so those items are out of contention for this evening. We're on to item 4.3. It's an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the NJCU West Campus Redevelopment Plan.
Yvonne Balser. I think this is now the time to add in particular items about the college because of what they did to A. Harry Moore School. The fact that we had parents there not being aware of what is going on with the school. They were being, it was all kind of promises. The parent says one thing, the college is something else. And I think that we have to hold the college accountable for how they treated the A. Harry Moore School and the children being shuffled around. Now, I know that's not specifically about this, but The only time you can address the college for their responsibility is when something comes before them in that aspect. We need to help those parents. And by the way, I do not have any children or any relatives who attend A. Harry Moore, but I know people that have children there, and I know how the difficulty they have wondering what's going to happen and being told one thing by the college and later on being told something else. They're not working with the parents. That's my only comment. This is your time to get something from the college for A. Harry Moore School. Thank you.
Yvonne, I just want to say that we did wait when the initial articles came out about A. Harry Moore. We waited on this project. We also waited on certain things at Metro Field. And then I requested a meeting with the president. We met with the president. We met with members of the school to specifically discuss A. Harry Moore. And the only reason that they were moved was because the ceiling fell, which isn't in JCU's responsibility. But we do have a follow-up meeting to make sure that they're following up on everything that they said they were going to do, and that Jersey City Public Schools are following up on their end of the bargain. That's scheduled for next month, I believe the first week of next month, first or second week of next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. I applaud what you're doing. I deal with kids every day. On next Friday, November 22nd, I'm giving out close to 500 coats across this community. That's the papers that I gave all you council people in this city. It's not in Ward F, not in Ward A, not in Ward B, C, D, or E. It's the city. I used to take children from Jersey City to Newark for recreation, for boxing. This is a beautiful, great thing that they're doing at that college, that we can take more kids. We need all the space. I'm working with our councilman, Ward F, that we get an indoor community place. We need this for our children. Our children, a 12-year-old kid died today in Ward F in his house. He had a heart attack. But these kids are not getting enough recreation, motivation. Things are going on sad in the city, and it's shame on us.
Motion.
Oh, wait.
Hold on.
Going too fast.
You're going too slow.
Oh, never go too slow. Jeff Kaplowitz, Society Hill, Jersey City. Oh, how about now? Okay. Jeff Kaplowitz. I've stood in front of this council over many years speaking in favor of developments and opposing developments, all throughout every ward in Jersey City, because I believe that every community has a right to excel. And when each community and each ward excels, the city excels and becomes a better place to live. Ward A has been ignored for decades. And we've paid higher taxes and percentage that subsidized development downtown, Journal Square, and the Heights. But we stood by. Great neighborhoods in Ward A. True, longtime resident neighborhoods. When this council votes on anything in each ward, they defer to the councilperson in that ward, because that councilperson knows their ward better than anybody else. They're in constant contact with residents, getting feedback, positive or negative. Two people on this dais know their area excellently. Councilwoman from Ward A and Councilwoman from Ward B, when it comes to University Place. We've sat back and watched money being spent on development, money spent on pedestrian walkways, open space parks, and yet Ward A hasn't seen anything. Now, we're starting to see development. We're starting to see things happening in Ward A that hasn't happened in my lifetime. People coming to us and wanting to build. The city of Jersey City spent over $100 million to buy 100 acres because they want to create a new neighborhood in Bayfront. University Place has put up buildings. This project that we're talking about, that you're going to ask and vote on an amendment for, is doing something unique in Jersey City. What they're doing is creating a performing arts center with a world-class company, the Joffrey. That puts Jersey City on the map, more than what we've had in years, and especially in Ward A. They're creating housing, and they're creating affordable housing in that development. They're creating open space for the city. They're donating space to the school children of our public schools. They're creating an idea of doing all this without a tax abatement. They're asking the city for nothing. Two councilwomen who have sat down and negotiated this deal should be applauded. We haven't seen that in development in Jersey City in years. So I ask you that this amendment to the West Campus redevelopment plan be approved as is. The councilwomen who know their neighborhoods, who support this, should be listened to, should not be underestimated that they didn't get a good deal. They did a great job, and this is something that will help Ward A, it will help Bayfront, and it will help Jersey City. I ask each and every one of you to support this because it helps Ward A, Ward B, and the city of Jersey City. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Pedro Figueroa. I was born in Ward F, but now I'm a resident of Ward A. I applaud this, a little bit of both worlds. I'm asking the council to vote yes on this project. Like Jeff said, they're not asking for any abatements, and they're giving back to the community. When I look outside my window, sometimes I see a group of 20 kids just hanging out in the streets. Sometimes I wonder, what could they be doing if there was something that they could do in the community? And that's important, especially someone that grew up in that neighborhood in Ward F, now in Ward A. Something for us to do is very important, especially for the youth, especially when they're not asking for anything from the city and they're giving. I think that's important. I normally would never back any developer, that's just me, but this project means a lot. It would be revitalizing the entire area of Ward A, especially giving something for the youth. So, thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing on the ordinance. Second. Motion by Councilman Robinson. I think Councilperson Waterman got the second. Am I correct? Close the public hearing. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Cranzeri.
Aye.
Bajano. Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman. Navarro.
Aye. He skipped everybody.
Skipped everybody, yes.
I love you.
I as well.
You skipped. It was all skipped. Yeah.
That's what, okay. Thank you, sorry.
James, it's not skip up, because not necessary to ask. He knows the answer already. He knows the answer, yes.
All right, for final adoption, council members, I'll get it. This
Before we take a final adoption, Council President?
Yes.
Okay. At the last council caucus meeting, I have a certain questions I addressed the issue, and NJCU didn't give any response back yet. So, anybody from the NJCU?
They're here.
Okay, please.
Good evening. Jennifer Mazawey, Mazawey, with the law firm Genova Burns, on behalf of NJCU.
Yes. The first things I'm asking that the last time, they have what kind of, they have like a 3.84 acre land located West Campus. And I asked them what kind of price this NJCU sold that the land to developer.
I don't even recall that being a question at the caucus meeting, but
Okay.
it is a question.
So then next occasion I asked them, they only provide less than 7% affordable housing units. And I asked them, there any plan to change, increase affordable housing units?
That's correct. You did
Okay.
ask that question, absolutely.
Yes. So then answer that for me.
Sure. We did return to the developer. We discussed these concerns that the councilman raised. The developer did look into, I think some of the suggestions were to potentially add additional units at a later time. And honestly and frankly, the idea of doing that is just too speculative at this point. And the developer could not add any additional units and couldn't make a guarantee to add units later on.
Okay.
So the
then
24 units is what's proposed.
I think this is opportunity to people of Jersey aware that what's going on that deal. Let me repeat what I said at the council caucus meeting. NJCU own 3.84 acre. They say they're gonna sell the land to develop for $5 million. And developer pay $5 million NJCU for the land. After that, NJCU asks certain units of affordable housing, which is 23 units for affordable housing. In order to get the 23 units, NJCU pay back to developer $3 million.
That's not correct.
That's not correct, because
No.
that's the way they told me.
The initial purchase price was $8 million. That $8 million got reduced to $5 million. $8 million,
$8 million.
which was reduced to $5 million to support those 24 affordable units.
So they sold $8 million. And how much they pay back to the developer for the affordable
It's
housing?
not payback. It's not a payment. It was a reduction in the purchase price to help support the inclusion of the affordable
What
housing.
kind of deduction was it? How much?
$3 million, from $8 million to
$3
$5 million.
Okay. So in other words, they sell their 3.84 acres for $5 million, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now, so $3 million divided by 23 units.
24 units.
24 units. So $3 million divided by 24 units. How much is come up? Almost $120,000, $140,000?
I don't know.
Yeah, approximately. Now, you look at the next step. It's very interesting. The developer going to build for performing arts center for the NJCU. They cost probably around $48 million. correct? Is that right?
I don't have the exact numbers with me, but that sounds about right.
It sounds like that. So if you see the whole deal, NJCU, I scratch my head, they give away 3.84 acres land, just $5 million at their location. And even though developer build for PAC, Performing Arts Center, NJCU will be paid for that. But meantime, the developer, their land, supposedly not allowed to build residential units at all because that area actually only for performing arts centers. So that developer now, through this amended redevelopment plan, he able to build 343 market rate rental.
Minus the 24 affordable.
Yes, so
not
319,
343 market, correct.
319, but they get financial support for NJCU, $3 million. So end of the day.
Which also results in a tax rateable for the city, which they don't have right now.
Yes, don't worry about tax rate.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? When they develop, worry about our tax revenue, I'm scratching my head. So
I'm not worried about it. I'm just sharing with you
yes,
that there's
it's okay. $1.2 million a year. You know, so now what that means that this whole deal, they have no winner other than developer.
The university, the Performing Arts Center and the Center for Music, Dance, and Theater would not be built.
Yes, but without that deal, that if NJCU pay for that, 48 or $50 million, pay for the developer build the Performing Arts Center, then they can build themselves. So now, I'm going to tell you this is the interesting one. Whole deal is not for the NJCU not finance any gain. City of Jersey not that much gain, but meantime, only one party, which is developer get gift. Yesterday, we have a rent control committee. Who was there? James Solomon, Council President, myself, and the Mira was right? Councilwoman Mira, I'm sorry. Mira was there. At the time, Cornell University professor make a very good statement. Zoning change, amended development, those is asset to city of municipal government. That's the time city can ask them certain affordable housing units or rent control. But this time, the other hand, this city council set up the committee, talk about include zoning to try to bring up to every development more than certain unit, provide 20 units of affordable housing units. Now, if we give the exemption for this one, then when we talk of other units, include zoning, we're going to give the variance, but we only ask 20% the other place than this one, but this one meantime get 7% only. So when you see the whole picture citywide, the issue is a fairness issue. And also, NJCU promised to us variety community service contribution. When I read that,
You have a question?
Yes, so I'm going to ask this. Ask them, when you provide variety community contribution, I ask them, spells out. If they say, we're going to do performing so-and-so, how many times a year, which age, something more like a specific item and the prompt writing. Other than that, based on our experience, even they not provide, even say that Henry Moore schools, every year, holiday time, they issue pink slip to their teachers and the parents. I mean, really. Listen, I support the project. It's a great project. City of Jersey, about time to deserve to have Performing Arts Center, NJCU. But what City of Jersey get out from this deal, we got actually nothing. That's what I'm saying. You know,
You want-
this is
you
a
want me to
time.
respond to
There's
that?
not a-
Or
Yeah.
there were-
Question? No?
Do you want me to respond?
Yes, you can
I
do
want
that.
to.
yeah.
I don't know if there was a question specifically, but
Yeah, it's not a,
I
it's
don't,
more of a statement.
it was a statement, but
Yes, it doesn't matter, but
Okay, please respond.
yeah, go ahead. Whatever you want to say. Yeah.
well, what I was going to say is that there will be an agreement, as we discussed at the caucus. And following the caucus, we also have met with the JCRA, so the redeveloper will be entering into a redevelopment agreement related to the apartments. And the university will be entering into an agreement with the city. And it's in that agreement that we will lay out more particularly those community benefits that are in the redevelopment amendment, and we'll lay those out more. And that's always been our position from the beginning, that we want to work with the city, and we're happy to enter into such an agreement.
So I want to just make sure that our law department, when they JCI drafted that agreement, I don't want just to hear that they're going to provide art, a ballet class. I don't want to hear that. I want to make sure clear if they provide art class, what kind of art class they provide, how many times a year, who is, so more specific information they should be lined up. Other than that, I'm not feel comfortable. But anyhow, long story make short, it's a great project, good to have it.
Thank you.
But I feel like City of Jersey should get more out of affordable housing units, but less than 7%, I'm feeling not comfortable with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
You have any other comments? No.
Oh, and
Okay. Anyone else have questions or comments before we call for the vote?
motion.
Let's call for the vote.
Made the motion.
No, it's calling for the vote. It's closed already.
Oh. We brought up Ms. Mazaway after we had closed. I apologize. Let's get this camera going the right way. Council members, for final adoption of City Ordinance 19-146, item 4.3. The camera is still. Councilperson Ridley.
Okay, I'll try to be brief. I know we've been on this for a while. This project is, of course, very important to me as the councilperson for Ward A. It's very important to the residents that live there and the city as a whole. There are certain things that Councilman Young and I disagree on. I think we both agree, as he said, that this is a good project. I know he made some points saying that he feels it's unfair because we're pushing for 20% affordable throughout the city. But we can't hold someone to a law that we haven't passed yet. We're still working on inclusionary zoning, and that's our fault for not having done that already. So I think that we all have a goal to work towards that, and we should still be working towards that. But we can't hold that over people's heads if we haven't done our due diligence yet in that sector. The other thing I would say is currently that redevelopment plan calls for larger buildings to front West Side Avenue, and they have not built tall buildings on West Side, and I think the general consensus of the residents and most of us here would agree that we would rather not have a big building towering over West Side, and it makes more sense for it to go to the center of the project and become an anchor. And he's correct. Currently, that area is zoned for a school building that would not generate any taxes. And now we're putting a building there that would add taxes back to our tax roll in this city, which is important. I'll also say that in regards to affordable housing, and I want to be clear that yes, I asked for these affordable units, and I'm not against affordable housing, but we have this, seems like a scare tactic that I see go on where we're saying we need more affordable housing. You're going to lose your home. You need more affordable housing. There's a tale of two cities. But you don't reduce the tale of two cities by adding tons of affordable housing in the already most affordable area of the city. All you do is enlarge that tale of two cities. So we'd like to see more affordable throughout the city. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to fight for some affordable units where we are. Clearly, I asked for them in this project. But I think we need to stop saying that because that doesn't help get rid of the issue that we have here in Jersey City by stuffing all the affordable in the southern end of the city. So we asked for the affordable, we have that. We asked for them to meet with Jersey City Public Schools, Jersey City Recreation, they've done that. We've asked for, we have a community plaza that's being given back. We've asked for a community space inside the Performing Arts Center, for community theater groups to perform, for community meetings, et cetera. So far, everything we've asked for, they've agreed to, and it's going in a legally binding RDA agreement with the developer and with NJCU. So lastly, what I would say is, we all know that we don't really have an anchor project right now or a building or an attraction in Ward A. I don't think we've really had anything since Roosevelt Stadium. Not saying this Performing Arts Center is Roosevelt Stadium, but let us start somewhere. The rest of the city has developed, and we need something of our own on that side of the city. And I think that this project, it's been moving at a steady pace, the entire project, University Place. I think this is going to take it a step up, and this is also going to help us with the projects that we've already spent a bunch of money on across the street, Bayfront. We need to start somewhere, and we have to activate that area. And I think that this is a good step in that direction. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Just a few more things to add on this project as it abuts the southern end of Ward B. It was great to work with the councilwoman on this, and I think that the asks were listened to by the developer and the university, and we got some really great things for all of our residents. We're putting a ratable on the base, which is something that wasn't going to go, so I think to say that the city's not getting anything out of it is wrong. And I think that you also need to think about some of the things that we're going to be getting as a city that you can't really put a dollar amount on. We're getting a world-class dance company coming to Jersey City. That is going to bring additional economic development to Ward A, Ward B, and the surrounding areas. That means jobs for our residents. That means exposure to dance companies that our children might not have. It's going to bring recreation programs, again, showing them different possibilities. And I think that the fact that there was no affordable in this project before is a great place to start with what we're getting now. And I echo the councilwoman's sentiment that you can't put all the affordable in one part of the city because that doesn't help. And with this, you get a really great mix of benefits to the community. You'll also have space for local nonprofits and community groups to hold their own performances and programming. And as somebody who knows doing something on a shoestring budget, again, that is invaluable. So with that, I happily vote yes.
Councilman Bajano.
Aye.
Ewan.
You know, I'm not against any project. I support the project. This is a great project. But we have to know that they say they're going to bring the world-class of ballet company in Jersey City. Did you anybody see the documentation? They say they're going to guarantee come to Jersey City. Come on. They're part of the rule is that they create the inclusion. And also, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm not against the project, but this is the opportunity the city to get some more, not only affordable housing, we can create some workforce unit too, to give to them some opportunity to every income level for some kind of housing. Because of that, I have some issue for this project, not because of project itself. So because of that, I feel like City of Jersey City gets shortchanged by this deal and give the opportunity to develop, make a 319 market rates apartment build, but we get actually nothing, not benefit. So because of that, I vote for no.
Councilman Solomon?
Due to my adjunct professorship at NJCU, I have to abstain.
Can I be a professor? Jennifer, one question. How much is the community benefit, the community give back the center? How much was that? Do you have a number for that? The Performing Arts Center?
The cost to construct the Performing Arts Center, I do believe, is about $48 million.
$48 million to construct the Performing Arts Center?
And the Center for Music, Dance, and Theater, because this is, it's both a Performing Arts Center, but then also a place to house the Joffrey Ballet and the classes and the coursework for our theater and music and arts programs.
Just to be clear, that's being paid for by the university.
Yes, it's not built for the people of Jersey City, built for university.
That
wasn't the question, though.
I'm saying it was paid for by the university.
Yeah, paid by university.
It's for the people of Jersey City.
Yeah, ultimately, so, but just to be clear, the developer
is fronting the money.
And the developer maintains all of the construction risk. So
Understood.
nothing gets paid until the center is complete.
Yep.
Thank you. I just asked because if you had 20%, it'd be about 70 units of affordable housing. And, you know, we were letting people buy out of houses, affordable housing for a long time downtown at $15,000 a piece. And if you do that, it's only $1 million. So I think that Jersey City is getting a win. I think the council people, Ward A and Ward B, did a tremendous job getting this done and bringing this to Jersey City. Anytime you have development on a hill or whatever you call the south side of Jersey City without to fix blighted land where it's been empty for a long time and without an abatement, I applaud everybody involved. I have a lot of land in Ward F that we're trying to get built, and we want to see the same thing come to Ward F. So thank you, council members. I vote aye.
Councilperson Rivera?
Wards A and Wards B, you guys did an amazing job, and you know, this project is top of the line, and Ward A, it's about time, you know, and this is what that area needs, and it's amazing. So I want to thank both of you guys for a job well done. I vote aye.
Councilperson Waterman?
I think you guys did a great job. When you deal with affordable housing, the only way you can start conquering it is adding to it. Now, our whole goal is to get to 20%, but you don't turn down 7%, you don't turn down 10% because people are in need. And so, at first, there was no affordable units in this project at all. So for the council people to negotiate to get some included, to me, that's a plus. It really is. That's the only way you start dealing with affordable housing. Start adding to it. And so I think you did a terrific job. With that, I vote aye.
President?
So a couple of things before. There was some information requested that wasn't provided, as I think back in that caucus, the leasing information on the first couple of phases in terms of what the rents were and how much was rented out and so forth around that. I'd still like to get that information. Obviously, it's too late right now, but it won't necessarily impact my vote here. So let me start by, this is what, the fourth phase of a development of the NJCU West Campus, right? So So there have been a number of developments that have been completed already by NJCU, which I voted for tax abatements and for those developments, which myself and some of my colleagues here did as well. And we did so, and I did so as well, very supportively. We talked about the idea that these were a catalytic, transformative project for the west side of Jersey City, for the south side in that respect. And that was true then, and stand by that in that regard. The one thing I will say for those original projects, and it's probably a distinction and a difference between this and those projects, and it's a difference, which is those were P3 projects.
Yeah.
And those are projects, all those projects, the property still remains the property of the university, right? It's a distinction between the two, right? So they are leasing those properties out to developers. In those cases, the university is making out with ongoing lease payments over the 30 years of their lease with that. We get a tax abatement with tax revenue. The fact that it's already owned by the university, we don't really actually legally have the authority to they could have built 20 stories if they wanted to, and we couldn't have stopped it at that point. Although as a courtesy, they went through the review process and all of that thing in order to try to accommodate us, in part because we were looking to award abatements to the private partner there who was going to develop the property in those cases. So in that case, it was a public-private partnership that ended up with everybody kind of winning in that respect. The difference here is that the university is selling the property to the developer. And so has to be evaluated slightly differently in that regard because the developer is actually getting to acquire it. So the acquisition price and all of that around that, you said it was $5 million, is that correct?
8 million days.
8 million, I'm sorry, and then you gave back 3?
For the affordable.
Right, for the affordable. So ultimately, they made 5. What wasn't brought up, and I think to the Councilman Yun's point about that, is that the construction cost and the risk, as was pointed out, is $48 million, 48.5, and then the actual sale price for the university is going to acquire it once it's all completed is in the realm of 48.5 million, right, around there. That's the purchase price. What ends up there is that if this was still university land and the university was responsible for building it, as the councilman pointed out, that would actually come out to 61 million. And the difference being is that it's going to be prevailing wage because if it's still state property, they have to abide by state laws, and state laws require prevailing wage paying heftier wages for the construction costs, for the labor costs. So that's a $13 million savings to the university in that regard because the university is financing the construction itself of that performing arts center. And so that wasn't necessarily discussed or talked about, but that's factored in as a cost. That's $13 million savings to a university that educates our children, our young adults, really, in Jersey City as well as the county and the state, but large many of them coming from Jersey City. Give me a second, Rich. Everything, it was said, everything we asked, they've given, and so NJCU has been very helpful in working to try to get that done, and the council people who worked on this have worked hand in hand with them. For me, the question is, did we ask for everything that we could get? And I'm not going to suggest that we didn't. I think, but when I look at kind of the fiscal analysis, and I'm going to say this for the record, that this fiscal analysis was requested probably 4 weeks ago, approximately. We received it at the earliest on Friday when it was finally released. And that fiscal analysis talks about, again, that kind of Section 31. I don't know necessarily that I agree with kind of the premises around which they make their fiscal comparison, but I'm not gonna go into those points directly at this point in the dialogue here. I also say that I asked for, after Monday's caucus and having reviewed the fiscal analysis, I asked our fiscal analysts to provide the Excel spreadsheets and documentation so I could check out the assumptions behind some of the purchase cost and things of that nature, and how that was all factored in into the, I know this is all very pedantic and boring in many ways, but what we've been trying to do here, and we've talked about the inclusionary zoning ordinance, is the idea of trying to figure out what works. And so one thing that's come up for folks who, if you watch some of our inclusionary zoning meetings, is that one size does not fit all. Correct. So we've talked about that among the council people, and we've had experts and developers and other folks in the affordable housing development field who talked about it and saying one size does not fit all. The other thing I would say is that came up very much in our last meeting was the idea of tax abatements. And that if we shouldn't be taking tax abatements, I know it's a dirty word, I know it doesn't win me any points out there in political land, but in politics and in votes, but I will tell you that if we want to see affordable housing, and yes, we're seeing 7% here, or thereabouts, but if we wanted to see something more, we would, tax abatements would be a big plus on that side to make that a reality. And make this sort of project work, which includes all the other benefits that were discussed as well. So there's a give and take there. So if you take one benefit and other things like that, and you're not giving something, they're not getting something else in their financial analysis, then something else is given up. And so what's it going to be, and what's the cost going to be for Jersey City residents around that? Personally, for me, I'd prefer to see more affordable housing. Although I'm not going to sneeze at the things that are being provided here and say, or disparage them, because there's a lot of good things inside of here. The last thing I just want to say and comment about is, as I said, the $48 million for $61 million. It's my understanding you're going to make a good faith effort here to do some responsible contracting language with our laborers and doing union labor. I'm going to ask and that it's going to be part of the redeveloper agreement process, is my understanding, and ask that the city and the redevelopment agency and my colleagues who sit on the redevelopment agency, that you make sure that you ensure that we do get that responsible contracting language, and that our union brothers and sisters will get to see fair wages in this project. And I say that knowing that the developer in this, Claremont, who did the development in which we approved redevelopment plan zoning changes, complete opposite of this in many respects. For the St. Lucie shelter, the same developer, Claremont, got a huge windfall out of that. So I hope we hold their feet to the fire on this one. That being said, on balance with everything, although the numbers don't necessarily bear it out, although the numbers are not necessarily clear here in this analysis, in terms of financial numbers, I should say. For me, and I would like to see more clarity in that regard going forward. And I want to say just that's because we need to get better financial analysis in all of this. And so that being said, I still believe, as I said when we voted for the first three, that this is a catalyst for the area. It's going to be a catalyst for the west side and the south side and Bayfront that folks have already mentioned before. And so for that reason, I'm going to vote aye.
We have a 7-1-1 vote for the adoption. City Ordinance 19146, item 4.3. No by Councilperson Yun, and abstention by Councilman Solomon.
Because they should have done that caucus vote.
They don't.
Council members, we are on to item 4.4. It's an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the neighborhood commercial district zone. This is a public hearing on the ordinance. Are there any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by
I was running up here.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
I was running up here.
Go ahead, Jean.
I just have one question. Because I didn't have a chance to read the ordinances, can anyone explain what this is, just to the audience members? What this ordinance is entailing, the amendments to the neighborhood commercial district zone? I mean, could you let me, I'm sorry, did
yeah.
I ask them?
No.
Oh, Mr. Lavarro, excuse me, Council President.
Yep.
Would you be able to quickly articulate or illuminate what the actual amendments are?
There's a fact sheet that comes with every ordinance. If you want, we'll get you a copy of that, but it talks about facilitate corrective zoning and encourage development aligned with the character of the Jersey City's neighborhood commercial districts. Amendments include updates to the purpose, permitted uses, bulk, and parking standards of the neighborhood commercial district zone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Motion. Get a motion by, let me get the camera back.
Who's motioning?
I heard the motion by Councilman Rivera, seconded by Councilman Robinson. Let me get the camera back where it belongs, please.
Are they here?
Okay, to close the public hearing, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Prinzary.
Aye.
Fagiano. Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson. Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Lavara.
Aye.
We've closed the public hearing, 9-0. For final adoption of City Ordinance 19-147, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Panzeri.
Aye.
Fagiano. Yun.
I'm going to just ask a simple question to our law department. If we see the page 104, 345-45, it's a neighbor commercial district purpose, and we cross out these areas are located along the Central Avenue, Newark Avenue, McKinney, so and so. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, page 104, 345-45, neighborhood commercial district, A, purpose, and they deleted. These areas are located along the Central Avenue, Newark Avenue, McKinney Square, West Side Avenue, Community Avenue, and the Low Kennedy Boulevard. That's the current NC zone. So if we cross out this one, then what happened?
I mean, this particular ordinance was presented by, I believe it was the planning
The
department.
planning department, because this is the current NC zone. Now, when they cross out, I'm scratching my head. You know, what is then anybody come to ask the planning department, what is NC? Then if we cross out all those NC area, how are they going to expand to the NC area?
I can't speak as to what the planning department's intent was. However, it would be speculative for me to assume what it would be, but by the assumption of it being struck out is that it would not limit the definition to those enumerated areas and would expand it to other similar areas.
So expand means that everything's okay when we read it, but only my concern is that if you see page 304, they have F. Number 4, for all the lots located on Kennedy Boulevard. So now, this is, I'm pretty sure other council members are aware they were not. For all the lots located on Kennedy Boulevard. So in other words, we create a new, totally new actually zone. So now, residential area use or provide the minimum 0.3 space per bedroom. So any building built Kennedy Boulevard the parking require 0.3 space per bedroom. That is our objection. Because especially when you say Kennedy Boulevard in the Heights area, if we allowed only 0.3 parking space, we're in trouble because there's no place to park the car. So I just want to make sure that this, oh, all right, good, thank you. All right. Yeah. Can't you? Question number 1.
Question number 1.
NZ zone, page 1 of 4. We deleted NC zone area in Jersey City. Central Avenue, Newark Avenue, McKinney, all those things we remove from the. So in other words, remove all this one, and the page 3 of 4, F4, for all lots located on Kennedy Boulevard. In other words, you create to sound like a new neighbor commercial zone.
So the only thing that we did when we removed the language that has Central Avenue and Newark Avenue is we cleaned up the purpose because we didn't want it to be too specific, because the NC zone also incorporates Fairmont Avenue. In some places, it's not any of those streets. So
So then let me ask you, you say Fairmont Avenue. The current zone is Fairmont Avenue's NC?
Yeah, we didn't change the zone, we just changed the purpose, and we just, instead of having a location in the purpose, we just stated the purpose of the neighborhood commercial, which is just a ground floor commercial, more walkable, you know, that. And so because we felt that those, the list of streets was actually not accurate, we just got rid of it altogether. So it's controlled by the map. If the map says it's in the NC zone, it's in the NC zone.
So then let me ask you this way. From the State Highway, Kennedy State Highway to Secaucus, the borderline of that Union City, is NC or R1?
Oh, well, in the
Currently is R1.
In the south, it's NC. In the north, it's R1. Kennedy Boulevard is tricky, but the reason it's differentiated in the ordinance is because of parking. Because in the areas that are in south of the city on Kennedy Boulevard, the access to public transit or mass transit isn't as readily available as it is on Central, on Newark. So we made the parking requirements, you know, actually stronger, more required.
So we have a couple of projects actually present in the community meeting in the Kennedy Boulevard. When they talk about 0.3 parking space, whole neighbor going crazy. Because especially Kennedy Boulevard, west side, the western slope, they have no place to park the car whatsoever.
But there's no NC on Kennedy Boulevard in the Heights.
That's what I'm saying. So I just want to make sure you can delete it NC zone, current NC zone, but in not creative Kennedy Boulevard, State Highway to Secaucus Road as not NC, just R1.
It's R1.
So as a current zone, right? Yep. Good. I vote for aye.
Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah, oh God, I'm going to make sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have to.
Hey, Councilman Solomon?
I vote aye. Just for example, one of the issues with this is there weren't height requirements. So some developers would go on an NC project and propose a 20-story floor, just so they could kind of negotiate a better deal. So this closes some of those loopholes. So I think it's a good bill.
Councilman Robinson?
Aye.
Rivera?
Stepped away.
Waterman?
Aye.
President? Aye. Okay, we have an 8-0 vote with Councilman Rivera out of the room. Council members, our next ordinance is City Ordinance 19150. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 8, Permit Parking, limiting the issuance of on-street residential parking permits to properties within the Journal Square 2060 redevelopment plan area available for occupancy on or before December 31st, 2019. And 2, amending Chapter 257, property transfers to require disclosure of this prohibition to residents of these buildings.
Yvonne Balser, I have a question. Will there be any commercial establishment in this particular area at all?
I'm sorry?
Will there be any commercial establishment within this particular area here? I know it says residential parking, but will you have, within this particular 2060 zone, will there be any doctors, lawyers, or dentists within that zone? Okay, so if I want to patronize that business, I'm not taking a bike. I like to know whether or not there's parking for people, because I realize the city is tightening up everything and there's going to be no parking. But if you're going to have commercial space, then please have some spaces for the patrons. Because I'll tell you right now, if by chance I have to go to a new doctor, whatever it is, I'm going to make sure there's parking, or he may be the best doctor in Jersey City. If no parking there, I'm not going. I mean, that's how it is. You can't, I mean, as it is right now, my husband and I play this little game where I jump out and get something, and he stays in the car, and, because you can't find parking. So we end up burning gas, destroying the environment because there is no parking. So it really takes two people to do something. So if my dentist tell me, oh, I'm going to relocate and open up a place in Journal Square, can we go there and park? It's a great concern.
You know what, Council President? Can I explain to that? The commercial building parking regulated by, we passed ordinance, neighbor commercial. This is control. And this one, we only talking about residential parking.
I understand that, but...
So you talking about the commercial parking, actually, we just passed that. This one tells you if we have a commercial space more than 5,000 square feet and so on, so then you guys require so much parking space, it's here.
So will there be parking for, because that is Journal Square has always been a commercial space. When I was a child living in Hoboken, a little kid, and my mother took me to Journal Square, it was always commercial space. I mean, it was that. So for people who know this, I want to be able to make sure that if I want to go to a doctor or lawyer or a dentist or something else like that, or maybe someone has I can get a blood test there. I don't want to be able to wonder whether or not I have to, got to be a tag team with my husband and myself to do things. Will there be parking for the people who if you're going to have commercial space? That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Because if not, you're not going to have people patronize those businesses. I'm going to be very honest. You're not going to have people patronize those businesses. And I kind of feel bad that I have to go to other places outside of Jersey City because of that particular fact. But I do. So I just think that when you do these things, and if you're doing, well, everyone's going to have a bike, no. I'm not going to get a bike at my age. I'm not. And even if I was much younger, in this very cold weather, when it's icing and raining and snowing, I still would not take a bike to go to these places. So I just think that there is we live in this ideal world where people's going to be taking bikes, and the reality is they don't. And I just want to make sure that these commercial spaces do not fail because you decided not to put in enough parking for the people to patronize them. That's all I have to say. Because if not, I will take my money and patronize a place outside of Jersey City, unfortunately. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to be heard? Come on up, sir.
Forward, sir.
My name is Hugh Sweeney. I live on 2nd Street. I'm next door at a meeting, but I heard that this was about parking. I have a suggestion. I'll be 30 seconds. I have a suggestion to maybe alleviate downtown parking,
This is not downtown parking, sir.
to alleviate parking in the city. Give homeowners a...
Go ahead, sir, please.
Right. Go ahead.
Go ahead, continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give homeowners some sort of a tax break if they park in Newport. Newport is almost always empty, especially on the top level, except around Christmas time. And the city could work out a deal with Newport about that. Downtown people would then, some of them would park on Newport, and that would alleviate parking downtown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Has anybody mentioned that before?
But you know, I had
Not on
mentioned
this
that with-
ordinance.
You know what, just to answer your question, New York, when I dealt with Newport, because I dealt when I first got elected, the problem is people park their cars there and go to New York. And so that was a serious issue.
Well, it could be Jersey City residents could have a sticker on their car, and they're the ones who are allowed, which are allowed.
Good idea, though. It's something to talk about. I do. You got to find parking.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to be heard? Motion. Oh, sir, did you want to speak on this ordinance? No, just this particular ordinance. Okay. Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by the council president. Seconded by Prince Airy. On the motion, Councilperson Ridley to close.
To close, Councilperson Ridley? Ridley?
Aye.
Prince Airy.
Aye.
Fagiano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Rivera.
He stepped away.
Waterman.
Aye.
Lavaro.
Aye.
We have an 8-0 vote. Close the public hearing. For final adoption, Councilperson Prince,
Aye.
Ridley. Prince Airy.
Aye.
Fagiano.
Aye.
Yun.
I can say that Councilman Richie Bojana did a wonderful job for this ordinance, and he fighted for parking issue in Journal Square 26th plan. Finally, he reached some goal. I thank to Councilman Richie Bojana. His great job he delivered to the resident of Ward C. Good job. I'll vote for aye.
Councilman Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson. Rivera.
He's still away.
Waterman.
Aye.
President.
Aye.
Okay, with Councilman Rivera out of the room, we have an 8-0 for ordinance 19150, item 4.5. 4.6. Ordinance amending Chapter 287, Solid Waste, Article 1, Storage, Collection, and Disposal, Section 8, Refuse receptacles, approved containers and plastic bags, to allow property owners or their agents to obtain a permit to place refuse receptacles on the curb on the day before the collection, earlier than 7 p.m. but not before 4 p.m. It's a public hearing on the ordinance. Are there any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilperson Prince Airy, seconded by Councilperson Robinson. Councilperson Ridley. Prince Airy.
Aye.
Fagiano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Councilman Rivera still out of the room? Waterman?
Aye.
Lavara?
Aye.
Close the public hearing, 8-0. For final adoption, Councilperson Ridley. Renzeri?
Aye.
Bajano?
Aye.
Yun?
This is another great job done by Councilman Rich Bojano. Really. You know, this is a protect the small business owners citywide. And he always go around to listen to people. This is a proof that she's the wonderful job. I got thank you to Councilman Rich Bojano. And this is company I heard from the lot of small business community from Jersey City, you know, so I can say that thank you to Councilman Richard Bojano. He did a wonderful job. Good job.
Mike.
I'll vote for aye.
Councilman Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson?
Keep up the good work, Councilman. Aye.
Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye.
Lavara?
Aye.
We have a 9-0 vote for the adoption of item 4.6, City Ordinance 19-151. City Ordinance 19-152, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-9, stop intersections, designating Prescott Street and Park Street as an all-way stop intersection. This is a public hearing on the ordinance. Are there any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilperson Waterman, seconded by Councilperson Prinzeri. To close the public hearing, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Prinzeri.
Aye.
Bajano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon. Aye. Robinson.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Lavaro.
This is used.
Aye.
We have a 9-0 vote to close the public hearing. For final adoption, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Prinzeri.
Aye.
Bajano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon. Robinson.
Yeah, it is mine. Is there a current one?
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Lavaro.
Aye.
How many parking spaces in case? How many parking spaces?
4.7 has been adopted.
Yeah.
9-0. That's City Ordinance 19-152. Our last second reading ordinance is item 4.8. City Ordinance 19-153, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, amending Section 332-27, Angle Parking, designating angle parking on Whitman Avenue, north of Fifth Avenue. This is a public hearing on the ordinance. Are there any members of the public wishing to be heard? We have a motion by Councilman Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Ridley. To close the public hearing, Councilperson Ridley. Rivera.
Aye.
Excuse me, Pranzeri.
Aye.
Pranzeri. Bajano.
Aye.
Yun.
To
Close.
Close. Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson. Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Lavaro.
Aye.
For final adoption, Councilperson Ridley. Prinzeri.
I just want to thank the Division of Traffic for working with me on this. We don't have a lot of streets that are wide enough to do angle or reverse angle parking in the ward, so it's great to see this happen, at least one of ours, and add a few more spots for our residents. Aye.
Argiano?
Aye.
Yun?
Aye.
Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye.
Lavaro?
Aye.
We have a 9-0 vote for the final adoption of City Ordinance 19-153, item 4.8 on the agenda.
Engineering, just pump it up. Why are we going 6:30 here? Yeah. Why are we going to 6:30?
Okay, council members, we're to the public request for hearing. First speaker is Laverne Washington.
Not here.
Kurt Johnson. For the uninitiated, you have 5 minutes and you'll be taught. There it goes. Please begin.
Thank you. Kurt Johnson, my company's Telecom Integrity Group. I've been under contract with the city of Jersey City since 2009. The reason I'm here today is we've not received payment for the year 2019. I've escalated to your purchasing department, to your IT department, who I performed the work for, to your business administrator, to your assistant business administrator, and to your mayor. I have not received a response from anyone. The nature of our work is we do telecom auditing, and what that means is we review the phone bills for the city, specifically the IT department and public safety. We identify the billing errors and the available savings, and then we implement those savings, as well as work with the phone company to recover refunds. In 2019, we recovered refunds of $79,348. And we implemented, thank you, and we implemented $51,758 in annual savings. We've not been paid our commission on that. Our commission per the contract, which was approved by City Council back in 2016, some of your faces I remember,
Yeah.
called for a 20% contingency fee. For some reason, we have not been paid. I'm working with Bernadette. Mr. Platt? Mr. Platt will not return my phone calls or emails. So we've submitted the invoices. We send them to the IT department. I work with Bernadette Kajarska, excuse me for the pronunciation, Shirley Marcano. They've reviewed them. They receive them. We've not been paid. I was informed by Bernadette roughly a week ago. The resolution would be on this meeting agenda. It's not. So I'm trying to find out what in the world we have to do in order to get paid. We're a small company. We've performed the work. We've delivered the service. It's hit the city's invoices. I'm really beside myself as to why we can't get paid.
How much do they owe you?
Total of $29,999.
You saved the city 70-some-odd thousand?
$79,000 in refunds and $51,000 in annual savings.
Well, Ryan, why aren't they being paid?
This is a Steve Miller.
I would just ask that the council not ask Mr. Platt or anyone from the administration regarding that. This is a public hearing. He's here appealing to you. We don't know what the state of it is, and there shouldn't be any discussions about any money that may or may not be owed at this time.
That don't make sense.
Telecom Integrity Group.
And what I've done, maybe I can leave this afterwards. I've produced a chronology of all of our work,
Michael, that don't make
an
sense.
outstanding AR report, copies of all invoices, including late payment penalties, communications with your IT department, with your purchasing department. One of the things I did want to point out, we can't perform work without something called a letter of authorization. Bernadette signed the letter of authorization allowing us to work directly with the phone company. So there was a point of contention with Bernadette that she didn't authorize it. That's been resolved. So we're an audit company. I think this document will pass an audit test, and I've provided every bit of information I can possibly provide. And again, we're a small company. We bid on it. We were selected. We performed exactly as the bid has required, and for some reason, we're not getting paid.
Just to add, we're not taking any position as to whether this gentleman, what he's saying is correct or incorrect. The point that I'm making to you is procedurally, this is not a forum where people come in. He can, as a member of the public, come in and grieve, as some people do, but this isn't the appropriate forum to start having discussions on bills that have or have not been paid by the city. That would just be inappropriate. So there is a forum, and the city may want to speak to the administration. This is just not the time and the place to do that.
Sir, my council aide is over there. If she could get your information and share it with the rest of the council.
If a person comes here and has a complaint, and he's going before the council, I think we should have an answer from the law department or from Brian. And if not, then we should have a special meeting and we should find out what's going on.
And you're absolutely correct, but not when someone comes here on 5 minutes of public speaking. Should the administration or the law department be in a position to anticipate that this is going to happen or know anything factually about it? My point is there is a time and place, and that will happen, but that cannot happen at this
I'm sure all 9 of us would like an answer to this and have a special meeting then.
Sir, my council aide, she'll get the information provided for everyone in the city council.
Some of my time was taken up by this woman. So, but the issue is I have
Give it to all of
attempted
you.
every process, gone through everyone.
Understand that.
Okay.
I understand it. Don't worry.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Vaughn?
Yvonne Bowles. First of all, Mr. Brennan, I want to thank you for your kind email about my husband. He doesn't tell me these things, but you did, of his kindness. What I want to talk about is Resolution 10.1, 10.5, and 10.13. In 10.1, it talks about authorization of insertion of special items of revenue appropriation for 2019. Is this grant money?
Yes.
Okay, it is grant money?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. The second one is 10.5. Is that the refund? Is there a tally on how much money we have spent out on successful tax appeals? This one is around $2 million, but is there a total tally at all? Yeah, what we have refunded for people who have won. Is there a tally? Yeah, the city should, this information should be helpful because this is taken off our rateable base, and then later on we have to fund all these tax appeals down the road to refund these people. So I think that's something that the city should have. And lastly, on 1013, which has to do with a waiver. I mentioned this some years ago. My husband went down to the post office, and the line at the post office on Washington Street was 20 minutes to get inside the building during Christmas time. When he came out, he got a ticket. And I said, he's not the only one that has this. The city has, cut back on the time, and yet it takes like 20 minutes to get inside the building because people are mailing things out. Couldn't you at least do something around the post office so people do not get tickets? Because, if you're mailing something out, large packages, people should not be penalized because there is no more parking as it was in the past. So could you please include that in 1013. So areas around post office, when you have to wait online, especially the main post office downtown, people should not be penalized with a ticket for that area, you know, for the month of December. Just stop giving out tickets for that particular month, and then you put it back in January, because it's just not fair.
Yvonne, there's supposed to be a change. Central Avenue, Newark Avenue has one person in there, and line's unbelievable. I had a meeting with the Postmaster General. We may be getting another person to this city here, and they have to put more people working here.
I just think that, you know, I mean, I tell him now to go to mail things out in Bayonne, because he's not going to get a ticket. Because in Jersey City, they will give you a ticket for doing, you know, basic things. In fact, we're doing more shopping in Bayonne because we can park there. Unfortunately, we're not giving the business to local people. So wouldn't it be possible by the next meeting I can have the information on how many successful tax appeals we have? So I'm answering about that question. You can send it to me, yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Jeff Lusme. Islat Fitzberlead. Ray Aponte.
Hey, Ray.
Who's on the speakers list, kindly move up to the empty spaces in the front. Mr. Aponte, please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Members of the council, good evening.
Evening.
Section 7, Charlie of the Ordinance 19156 addresses the traffic control manual for the city of Jersey City. I, myself, and everyone else who wears a uniform in the city thinks it's a bad idea. Although it was actually taken from the agenda last night, I just want to kind of emphasize the reason why we feel this is a bad idea. This section of the traffic manual states that although police officers are mandated for manual control of traffic and signalized intersections, i.e. when traffic signal indicates, i.e. when traffic signal indicates are being overridden, flag persons are to be used in all other conditions that require manual traffic. This section indicates when a traffic signal is out of order, officers would be called upon to conduct traffic while the traffic signal is being fixed. If there's no other issue to the traffic signal on these intersections in any part of Jersey City, then flag persons can work these intersections as per the new ordinance. The current ordinance states that police officers are mandated to be posted at these intersections while the streets are being conducted, meaning any upgrades that are happening. My question to the council, why does this city want to change police officers to be now utilized by flagmen? To be quite honest with you, we have no idea if there's any reason. But I would like for you to actually take a time to, if you can, take out a pen and paper, and we could actually kind of get each other to talk about this for a second and see what your reasons are compared to mine. So if you have 5 good reasons why police officers should not be used, I want to see if you could compare that to why it should be used. So while you do that, if you want to partake in this, if anybody else wants to do it, you're more than welcome. But here's my number 1. Officers are trained and certified in police training commissions to handle any traffic issues in the state of New Jersey. For instance, factors in accident probability, traffic enforcement, manual traffic control. Officers, this is number 2, officers are trained and certified as first responders and trained in the areas of first responding, controlling exposures blood-borne pathogens, CPR, and stop the bleeding procedures that officers are instructed from. Number 3, additional 150 to 200 police officers are on post at no cost to the taxpayers. Note, having additional officers on post have been found to deter crime, and it gives residents a sense of comfort knowing that police officers are nearby. Number 4, city creates revenue for utilizing police officers and their equipment. According to the old ordinance, vendors would have to pay an administration fee for the use of officers and their equipment needed at these sites. This creates revenue that can help assist police departments to counterbalance any type of budget constraints. Just a note, in 2011, New Brunswick, New Jersey collected $449,000 from administrative fees by utilizing police officers in these sections. And last but not least, and I'm sure everyone would agree on this one, aggressive drivers from out-of-towners will think twice about committing any type of motor vehicle violations when they see a law enforcement officer standing on these posts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I said my 5 portions on why it's best to have a police officer in these sections. I know that this has been pulled from yesterday's agenda, but we're concerned that it may go back on the agenda. And I'm hoping that you guys can understand the need for public safety in this traffic environment. It took me probably an hour to get here, and that's when I hit the border to get to City Hall. But I'm sure everyone here can understand that traffic is a problem here in Jersey City. And on top of traffic, it becomes a public safety issue for all that actually operate here in Jersey City. Thank you for your time.
Ray, hold it. Ray, I speak to you all the time. Danny, myself, and Mira are sitting down with the unions within the next week, hopefully, and engineering to work out some of the words in that ordinance or resolution. And believe me, you know where I'm coming from, Ray.
I understand, sir, and I hope to hear from you guys. Thank you very much.
Hendika Muslam. Shamun Ramrup. Samuel Gutierrez. Jason Berg. We have one person that's not on the speakers list, so we go to 12. Jason, you're up.
Good evening. Good to see you all, and happy faces. We survived elections. I don't know, it's like the yeses won, and in 2015 there were ordinances for that. And the real irony here is it's all about money, but who's got the bigger wad in their pocket that won? Only about 25% of the people actually voted. We have about how many people we have that are registered there, Mr. Clerk? Offhand?
People are registered?
Yeah. The percentage last time it was an election. Anyway.
130,000 or so,
Yeah.
but
They don't count anyway. But when we do it,
real number because we're carrying too many people on the registration rolls that shouldn't be there.
and hopefully that can be a way to eliminate that, because then it can as a count that the people are being counted when they're not even here, even they could be dead.
That's not the case.
Well.
I'll explain it to you some
Yeah. Now, Jersey City has the City Pound. Now it's being controlled by Sims after the other company sold out. Now, the City Pound has a 24-hour time clock at 12 midnight. But if you're on the other day, 12:59, and it comes 12 midnight, you just paid for a full day. It only being a minute out of the day. You really need to change the ordinance for the car being 24 hours. Even your day is 24 at 12 midnight. The car should be registered at the time of its internment in the facilities. Think about that, because it's getting dipped out of $30, and it's $30 a day. You know, some people can't afford it, and that's why you have so many cars being sold during the auction times. So please put that in the quill and see if it can be written in there. Now, also there was, with the ordinance of the towing charges, I looked it up, it was about $140 a day, and now they're being charged $150 for a Class 1. To my understanding, anytime there's a change in the ordinance, it's supposed to be marked as a cross-out line, and then the new line would be with the new price or whatever that was being replaced. Well, it wasn't. So I'd like to I don't know how the Sims Corporation got an increase when the ordinance only says $10 less. So please look into that. Now, I'm so glad that this is my 50th year season of being a caretaker of my mother's block, second place. And for 50 years, it's been looking good. It's the best cul-de-sac in Jersey City because of my attendance on it. And it's ironic that as new people come in, people will throw their trash around because there's no respect. And then people wonder why this community is dirty. The interesting thing is that it's not the people, it's the attitude and the lack of culture. If you don't think that you are worth something or someone else is going to pick it up, you dump it. Let's go from the old Jackson Avenue, Martin Luther King Boulevard Drive, and go down to West Side Avenue. You'll see a big difference in the amount of trash. That's an observation, because there are more people who are owners than tenants. And transient people have a tendency not to really give a rat's behind because someone else will do it for them. But the real thing is we're all responsible for our own actions.
Oh my God.
There was an interesting article about evil, 15 things about being evil. And I think President Trump got a majority of them. And that's like not being accountable to your place and blaming others for their failures because you are not failing, they are failing you. So in the line of that, very good. There. You're praying, or you're just trying to smell your breath? Thank you, folks. Enjoy. Oh, by the way, Councilwoman, where is the gate that's supposed to be done in the South Precinct? I'm still waiting for that. When is it coming? When the second coming of Jesus is going to be there? It'd be nice. Thank you.
Where's your other hat?
This is my new one.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Zeidin? Is Mr. Zeidin here? Spell your first name. Pardon me? Spell your first name.
Jehad.
Thank you.
Jihad.
Please begin.
Okay. Thank you, Council, for letting me speak. My name is Jihad Zidan. I'm 40 years old. I live in Parsippany, New Jersey, and I'm a consumer and a retailer of electronic cigarettes. I'm here to speak about the Ordinance 19-158, which bans the sale of flavored e-cigarettes. My objective is to urge the council to realize that the adoption of this ordinance is not going to help the city. It actually will hurt the city. Some of these reasons are that essentially by banning them in Jersey City, the customers are not going to just stop using them. They're just going to go to the next city over and buy them from there. You're also going to be putting a lot of these vape shops that we have out of business. You're going to eliminate the tax revenue that they're generating. You're going to eliminate the jobs that they're generating as well in the city of Jersey City. I think that this has probably been proposed because of a lot of misconceptions about this industry. We've gotten a bad rap lately, as you all probably know. A lot of the misconceptions are related to the people that are getting sick, and since then the CDC has come out with a study and an investigation, I guess a conclusion, a report that indicated that the people were getting sick from illicit and illegal black market THC cartridges that were used in the vape product or the vape device. Vaping is not something that's killing people. Vaping is a device. It's a tool that essentially powers something that vaporizes a liquid, whatever that liquid may be. No one has ever gotten sick from vaping nicotine-flavored e-liquid. For the last 20 years that it's been out, it's never had any kind of negative press up until when these people started getting sick. I will also acknowledge that there is an issue with youth vaping. I don't deny that. I'm a responsible business owner. My stores card every single customer, and we don't sell to underage people. Part of the issue with underage vaping is access. It's not the flavors. Flavors are attractive to everyone, not just children or youth. We adults like flavors. Part of the reason why a lot of people were able to quit tobacco, harmful combustible tobacco with vapes, is because they enjoyed the flavor that they were vaping. It wasn't just tobacco. The state and federal, government are working on sensible regulation for this. For Jersey City to take this extreme step, I think it's irresponsible and it's too soon. I think they need to do more research, understand what's happening here with vapes, and make a more informed decision. There's so many ways that we can eliminate access to the youth. First, I think that you should strengthen penalties for anyone who does sell to underage customers. I think that part of the reason that, excuse me. Okay. Not very used to this, sorry. Okay. The FDA actually did a study, and they reported that less than 1% of vape shops across the country actually sold to underage customers. Less than 1%. Vape shops are not the problem. They're responsible. It's the C-stores, the bodegas, the gas stations, those, an alarming 47% of them sold to underage people without even carding them. Internet sales is also a very large hole in this industry. Any child could take their parents' credit card. There's no way for them to verify their age online. They can buy it online. Ban online sales. Take it out of the C-stores. Make it so that it's easier for the city to regulate this and harder for the children to get it, and still keep the jobs, keep the tax revenue, keep the adults that choose to vape as opposed to using the harmful combustible tobacco. Leave that accessible for them because they need it. You're going to be pushing a lot of these people either out of the city to get it or back to smoking cigarettes, and we already know that's killing people. So, thank you.
Shut up already?
Motion. Oh.
Wait, there's no motion.
That's
right.
You broke it.
Jean Daly, you know you were next. Please come forward.
Hi, it's Jean Daly. First of all, I have to thank Ms. Waterman for saving all of us today. That was a good move. I have a couple quick statements, I guess. One thing I was curious about, because I've been seeing, and that all speaks to the police about having the police doing the traffic, is because there are so many Uber and Lyfts around here nowadays. I'm sure you've all noticed it. I've also noticed a lot of them have New York City plates, the T for the taxi services. And I was just wondering, what are we doing to control this? Do we know how many are here? Do we have any registration program? Because I see them everywhere. And in fact, that is the issue I believe the police officers were speaking of, because I see these people, they don't know where they're going, they're taking wrong turns, they're not following the traffic flow, and I believe that we should do something about them, because also they're idling around and they're clogging our streets, which are already clogged. Another thing I'd like to note, I don't know, you probably heard about it, but there was a someone, maybe it already passed, but there was someone seeking for a variance for the dormitories down on First Street. The one thing I just questioned about, and again, it may have passed already, is that I think we should make sure that it's a brick and mortar university, not a high school. Because if it's a virtual college campus, that means anybody could come onto this virtual college campus, whether it's a visa thing or I don't know, but I think we should make sure it's tied to a brick and mortar university and that it's not, also not high school kids. That would trouble me a little bit. Let's see. As far as there's a lot of speaking about the affordable housing. Yes, according to New Jersey law, affordable housing has to be tiered, and it's supposed to be 80%, then lower incomes, but it's not about the prevailing market rate. It's not 80% of the prevailing market rate, it's 80% of the poverty level. So what we're using for our 80% is completely wrong. Quick thing, again, I was wondering if the council could please look into the Exchange Place Alliance and the open public meeting issues. To date, they have been private, and I've been, being banned from videotaping, which is against the law. I've been escorted out 3 times by the police for just standing up for my rights. I believe that in order to comport with the law, the council must do something about this. I ask Council President Navarro to please look into this if you could, or at least make a resolution that the EPICID meetings, Exchange Place Alliance, CID, be held in the caucus room or some other meeting place within this building so it can be viewed for the public, and Open Public Meetings Act can be preserved. Additionally, there's just something strange. It just kind of popped up here. I noticed on the letters to the city under 6.26, this is one from Matt Cali Realty, and it's regarding to construct and install approximately 27,000 square feet of landscaped floating barges with pedestrian plazas and open space, and 56 transient boating slips with associated floating piers and finger piers within the Hudson River. I'm going to have to Oprah to get the that particular letter, but sounds a little strange to me, so I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's the speakers list tonight, council members.
All right, number one, I want to be recognized because
Sure.
I'm sorry, Council President. I called City Hall 3 times and asked to be placed on the list. I got out of my
You're on the list, Patricia.
No, I got out of my sick bed. That's why I'm getting emotional, and you're taking a known disregard to me again.
Speak to so I can correct this.
Please correct it. First of all, I called and spoke to the operator that said she only picked up the phone because Jerry had left. That was at 3. I don't like the games that y'all play here. It's crazy.
Miss Waiters, just go ahead.
Patricia, you're on the list.
Thank you. Whoever got that list. No, this is why I want to thank you, because listen, here we go again at 4:05 when I called.
We're going to start your time.
Patricia,
We're going to start your time.
So you want to
Thank you. Patricia Waiters, I just want to speak on 2 things on the last page, 1114 and 1115, about the affordable housing issue. I'm sorry, because this thing is about the affordable housing issue. I want to take this very seriously because today I stopped at Councilman Yang's office. That was me. Because I was up there with my family on a total whole different mission and was approached by 17 people from Jersey City Heights that said to me, Patricia, I watched you on TV at the last meeting, okay? I told you I served the whole Hudson County. It's a little disturbing to get somebody to make promises to me, and this is why I get emotional, because I fight for the people. I don't care about politics. I came to those last 2 meetings, and it breaks my heart that you guys are not taking affordable housing serious. I don't like the backdoor dealing. I'm talking about facts being here. I'm asking for all of your support again. I stood here and I asked you nicely. None of you guys besides Ms. Waterman have reached out to me on this issue about affordable housing. Okay, I just sat over there and almost got sick in that meeting, in that zoning, in the planning meeting. It starts with the planning board, the zoning board, your mayor. These people is nobody without the 9 of you, okay? So please take me real serious, because I'm going to organize so we can really mobilize on this. It's downright discriminatory, and I'm going to keep it real with you. When you even first plan to build, they don't want to build near the black, browns, and Latinos. Okay? So I'm going to just call it and be a straight shooter because we ain't getting nowhere beating around the bush. It's disgusting. I'm ready to go to Trenton on a state level. I don't care what kind of language you throw with these people, but what you doing to Highland Garden is disgusting. All of those tall units your mayor had built, not one of them is affordable. You trying to come up with little strategies about the street crossing and everywhere else. Our little black kids live there now. You concerned about how they crossing the street? Are you killing me? Seriously, please, you guys, I will leave my information again. I'm sick. I got to get back to my sick bed. Reach out to me because now the residents is coming to me. The same constituents that voted for all of you is coming to me. Leave your mayor out of it. Don't make this political because this could get really ugly. Please reach out to me. We have a serious issue with respect to affordable housing, and I need it addressed now. Because every time you build something up, it's like spitting in our face. We deserve to live nice too. It's not fair. My number's 201-204-6691. 201-204-6691. And thank you so much, Council President, for recognizing me.
By the way, when you go home, would you check your voicemail? We called you this afternoon. Please make sure we call. My office called you this afternoon. Probably leave the message.
Okay.
All right? So don't just say that. All right? Okay, good.
Council
Thank you very
members?
much.
Council members, we are...
Right.
Where she live? I didn't know that. But still, we call back.
That's it. We are to the petitions and communications, 6.1 through 6.30. We have no officers' communications nor reports of directors, so we're to the claims and addendum number 1. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Panzeri. Aye. Aggiano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
Guevara.
1 second. Page 5, the storm sensor. We had talked about this. This is that sensor that goes into the pipes and whatnot, 25,000 on our budget. I talked about the idea that maybe the MUA should be picking this up. I mean, it's already been passed, but you got new leadership at the MUA now, so I think they should probably be on the same page with everyone on this. And I mean, it's 25,000. It'd be good to get it off our books and put it on theirs, if that's possible still to do at this juncture. What's that? I couldn't hear you.
Talk to them.
Yeah, we'll talk to them
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Just transfer it off of ours. And could someone just explain to me page 7, the hotel occupancy tax that's going to the Jersey City Economic Development Corporation for $27,500? What is that? Robert, do you have any insight to anyone?
I think that part of the hotel occupancy tax goes to open space. I'm not...
It's the Economic Development Corporation? There's the note that says hotel occupancy tax. If not, that's okay. I'll vote no on that one just because I don't know what that is. So I'll vote aye on all the rest.
You'll vote no on what?
On page 7, hotel occupancy tax, whatever that line is. I don't even know what it's for.
Okay. All the claims have been approved, 9-0, except for the no vote on the page 7 of the claims, the hotel occupancy tax. The president voted no. Council members, 10.1 through 10.14. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Renzeri.
Aye.
Aye.
We take a vote.
Aggiano?
Robert, 10.12.
Yeah, hold on, yeah, sorry. 1012, yeah.
12. We spoke about this the other night. Yeah. This originally, going back, 15 years ago, the people of downtown were sold out by misconception or false, whatever you want to call it. This was supposed to be a community center for the people downtown. Then they turned it and they gave it over to a charter school, which was a shame. And there was a lot of people that complained at that time, but the administration at that time couldn't care less what the people said. This is a shame. This should be a community center for the people of downtown Jersey City.
So, yeah, I thought we had talked about withdrawing 1012. Specifically, I asked questions around what's the school capacity there. We asked questions around what does the lease allow us to do? And we asked questions around, what the purchase price, to Councilman Yoon's point around, is this mandated to be a school? Can we put that in the deed? And we got one question to Council President's answers, but I don't believe we answered all those questions.
I apologize. I didn't realize there was a request to withdraw, but we can withdraw. The administration withdraw.
Yeah, I think we just need a little more time to answer this question.
Sure.
Thank you.
10.12, yep.
1012 withdrawn.
Yeah, it was over 9-point-something million that the taxpayers of Jersey City paid for this, and we
Okay,
thought it was going to be a
it's
community
withdrawn.
center.
Your vote on the balance, Councilman?
Yeah, yes.
Yep, yes. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Yun?
Aye.
Councilman Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Rivera? Aye. Waterman? Lavara?
Where are we going through till? To which one?
14.
1 through 14, 12 withdrawn.
I won't belabor the point here. On 10.2, I think I'm suspect of some of the responses here on the questionnaire, no disrespect intended. I did get some of the information, or did get the information, so thank you for providing that. But I'm going to vote no on 10.2, and then on, you said 10.12 is withdrawn, correct? Okay, I vote aye on all the rest.
10-2, 8-1, Council President voting no. 10-15 through 10-29, Councilperson Ridley.
Wait, 1023?
10-15 through 10-29,
Okay, 1023.
Monitor
Exhibit,
Maple Urban Renewal.
Exhibit B. Where did my notes go? On Exhibit B, page 2 of 8, the affordability controls in the project shall be for 20 years. I thought our controls were always for 30 years for the affordability.
Pretty standard, like 30-year affordability restrictions.
Depends on how it's financed.
It does, but
Yeah.
absent of that information,
Yeah, we don't have the financing terms here. We just have that. And also on page 4 of 8, it says on L, recertification of tenant income, monitoring shall file on an annual basis, and annual income recertification with the Office of Tax Abatement and Compliance. That should be changed to the Office of Affordable Housing and Compliance.
we passed an ordinance back in September 25th. I was looking it up.
Yep.
Meaning that, so all of the language there was referring to tax abatement compliance should be updated to affordable housing compliance.
Affordable housing compliance. And I think we should either change this to 30 years, or we should pull this until we get the terms, the financial terms.
Can you just clarify what the question about the financial terms were that we were
Section
missing?
4, because the affordability controls imposed on this project shall be for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. And,
Right.
And, okay.
We all talking
Are you
about
gonna withdraw that,
affordability.
Brian, or
Yeah, we'll withdraw to get clarification on that as well. Wait,
And also 1025, I know Councilperson Vagiano he said some updated information about how this park was going to be paid for, and it was going to be paid for someone other than the city. But I was under the understanding that the MOU between the city and the county was saying that the park was going to be, the building was going to be demolished and paid for by the city of Jersey City? Are we paying, or, because we, I mean, if we're voting on this, we don't even have numbers to say we're going to vote on this as a city paying for this.
Yeah, correct. We don't have the numbers because we haven't gone through the whole due diligence process of understanding exactly how much it's going to cost to tear the building down and build the park and design the park. There's a lot of phases of that, and estimates for all that come as the process moves along. And again, this is sort of a very early agreement to move forward in this compromise, where the city is going to take some of the responsibility and the county is going to take some of the responsibility, with the ultimate goal of building a park on the full 3 acres of this space. That is the wishes of the community in this area, and so we're doing our part to make sure we can get it done.
It's a non-binding agreement, right? So until we'll see the terms or the details of the terms on that?
Check. Okay, great. Yeah, and then obviously as the terms of the transaction, which is going to be over a period of years, come out and the matters come up that are subject to council approval, they will obviously be presented for council approval. So I would say the component parts of the agreement that are subject to that, such as any approval of expenses for demolition, et cetera, would go before the council.
So you're saying that this all has to come back before council to vote again?
You have to.
The contracts that would be come before council for the design of the park, for the construction, for the demolition, all those things would come to council. Also, it should be noted that the redevelopment plan requires a park on this property, so there's no way that we couldn't do it. It's just we're trying to, there's several steps of the process here.
Listen, this has been in the works for the last 4 months, and many people have sat down and worked out all these agreements and everything. But we're talking about maybe 4 years down the road, 5 years down the road. Yep. I give the city credit and the county credit for working together with the people from the Hilltop and the Journal Square Association, both associations. And it's been a long process over the, like I said, over the period
It's gonna be longer.
of months. And it's going to be a lot longer. But they want to park, the people want to park, and not only for Journal Square, but for the whole city. And people going to court, it's going to be very useful for the court people going to court, coming out their lunch hour, sitting, having some place to sit and relax.
So I guess we're doing this memorandum of understanding, which I understand isn't binding, and we don't have any numbers yet. But, and maybe Borgiano can add to this, I know that you're saying there were negotiations, but what is the city benefit in this memorandum of understanding? I understand we get the open space and we get the park, but it's going to be a county park.
It's not, nobody says it's going to be a county park. We're not sure of this yet. But it's for the people of Jersey City, whether it's county, city, state, federal, or what. It's for the people of Jersey City. And like I said, the other night we had a meeting, over 150 people showed up at the meeting, and there would have been a lot more if we just expanded the area. It's for everybody in Jersey City. And, it's going to be a nice place for the Journal Square area, for all the construction. There's 14,000 units of housing coming. The people need some place to go out with their kids.
If I may just read on page 2, bullet number 7, it says, this MOU is intended to be non-binding, and the understanding set forth herein shall only become binding upon the reduction to a sufficiently detailed formal written agreement that is approved by the respective governing bodies of both the city and the county and executed by the duly authorized officials thereof. So all of this comes back to us ultimately, and the council will have to approve whatever those terms, as well as the freeholder board.
Yeah, also the improvement here is the original proposals called for a 1 acre park approximately, with some residential development on the site as well. This plan now calls for a park triple the size, 3 acres, and across the entire site. And part of that compromise is the city taking on some of the responsibility there. And again, we don't know all the numbers and the details yet, and future agreements are going to come through the council again.
So can I make it just clear? because of the city of Jersey want a non-binding MOU, because still we don't know what will be cost of the demolished building, in the future, and we just, because we don't print any budget for that item, so hard to make a binding MOU.
Yeah.
Because of that. So, and one thing we know that county gonna give us also 3.6 acres, city of Jersey to include the building. So city of Jersey demolish the building, create a park as a general secure park, but there's still land owned by county. So it's we invest the money, but it's not city park, it's a county park, and county maintained it, correct?
No, they're turning the land over to the city.
That's probably still to be defined. Let's just,
So,
yeah,
First,
nothing.
this is a baby step.
so, literally, this is, so council members, for me, the way I interpret it, it's essentially ceremonial, right? And it allows the county and the city to say we're going to work together going forward, and the goal of getting a full park for everyone. And with nothing really detailed out in that sense.
As Council President said, a memo of understanding is that. It defines the intent of the parties moving forward. And it can change. It's not binding. If it was binding, it'd be a contract.
Yeah.
So this is just setting out the intent, which sets out the good faith of the parties and what they propose to do going forward. But as the Council President said, and as you all know, everything that becomes specifics and everything that becomes binding will come back to you in time.
Yeah.
It's just the intent of the parties.
It's what we call the letter of intention, right?
It's similar to a letter of intent, but it's a memo of understanding. It has the same basic legal authority that this is what we propose to do. We're getting together. This is the beginning of the process.
Okay.
But with this process, we are agreeing, regardless of how much it costs, we're going to pay the bill.
No, we can change the mind in the
To
future.
anything at this point in this memo of understanding, except what the memo of understanding says is your intention at this time.
Yeah, we're agreeing that our intent is to pay the bill.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I understand all that, but whatever the bill is, we agreeing and we're going to pay for it. That's all. I'm just clear with that. That's our intention. That's all. You know what I mean? But then could they come back and say, well, we did put this forth and we did have an understanding that you guys would pay for the completion of the park? No, but I'm just saying, we would have to stick to it. I just want to be clear on this.
No,
it's a
we can
non-binding.
change our intentions.
It's a non-binding, so.
For me, the devil's in the details, so when I see the final numbers, the basic intent for myself, I'll just speak for myself, the basic intent I'm aligned with, but the devil's in the details, and so when I see the actual numbers, and as you said, it could be 4 to 5 years down the road.
Correct.
And the projected cost of demolition was something between $12 to $15 million. In 4 to 5 years, that could be $15 to $20 million, who knows? But our financial position for a city may have changed as well at that point, I don't know. So I'm willing to kind of work through it for my own purposes.
Ready?
Yeah.
Councilperson Ridley?
Letter of intention, you can change your mind.
Through the remainder of the agenda, right?
Wait, where?
This is 15 through 29. The balance of business 23 was withdrawn.
Aye.
Renzeri?
Aye.
Fagiano?
Aye.
Yun?
I can tell you that, park in the, what are they called, the General Scale 2060, I give to a lot of credit, Councilman Rich Bujan. I don't know what he did, but he did such a great things,
Oh my God.
Really, I'm telling you, Rich.
That's good medication.
I'm telling you, he really fight for that.
Romance.
Rich, good job. I'm gonna vote for aye.
That's good.
Councilman Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson?
JC, what is it in JCU? Oh, I'm sorry, aye.
Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye, aye, aye.
Waterman? Council President?
Yeah, just on 1024, this is the professional service agreement with Calcagni and Konevsky. Just for the record, again, this is all for services rendered. I just want to get that on the record, as opposed to new. Okay. So I'm going to vote respectfully to the chief prosecutor. I certainly do trust the judgment, but for me, the fact that not just that she's not a Jersey City resident, but all of her experience being outside of New Jersey, and while she may be able to kick some whatever, I think I'd like to see us look to try to get someone who has more local experience around that. So I'm going to vote no on 22, and then
Okay.
all right, let me just go through this and vote aye on all the rest.
Voting aye on the rest.
Good job.
Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Solomon.
Congratulations.
We have a motion
to meet the new baby.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes, a beautiful, healthy baby.
Yes. At 8:36,
Boyish
motion
girl.
by,
It's gonna be something, right?
motions by
Second.
Rivera, seconded by Prinzeri. By acclamation, say goodnight and good luck to
Good night.
the Solomons.
Oh, James. Danny's promised to bring up the It's a Boy cigar or It's a Girl cigar. Just tell her, okay? Tell him. Yeah, he's gonna bring the cigars, right? That's right. I thought Danny. Yeah, Danny, you're gonna bring the cigars, right?
Danny will bring the cigars.